thank you and good morning again. And I hope other people will join us. I had to go there and tell them that the workshop A was here in this room. And my name is Diakalia Sanogo, and I'm the program officer of the Think Tank Initiative in West Africa, based in Dakar, Senegal. And here we're going to talk about enhancing organizational governance and the role of the board in think tanks. And you will agree with me that institutional governance remains one of the critical difficulties almost the majority of the think tanks are facing. And this workshop will aim to help participating think tanks to try to see how they can structure the board and how to get the best of a board. And to do that, we will try to investigate the following areas. We'll see what is corporate governance. We'll try to see governance for profit institution versus governance for non-profit organization, to whom the organization is accountable, ways of accounting to stakeholders, very important, the role of the board, the composition of the board, and really how to get the best from the board. And we will be aiming 3 objectives. 1, we share good practices in institutional governance for think tanks. 2, we will try to review a range of tactics to help think tanks make the best use of the board. And 3, we will identify mechanisms and procedures that promote think tanks' accountability internally and externally. Now, I have a privilege to introduce our 3 distinguished resource persons who will help us engage in a learning and sharing fruitful exchanges during the next 2 hours. I will start with Ms. Maureen O'Neill from the Canadian Health Services Research Foundation. Maureen O'Neill chairs the International Advisory Group of the Think Tank Initiative and has been president of the Canadian Health Services Research Foundation since September 2008. She was previously president of the International Development Research Center, interim president of the International Center for Human Rights and Democratic Development, president of the North-South Institute and deputy minister of citizenship for the government of Ontario. Ms. O'Neill served as member or chair in numerous boards and has represented Canada on the UN Commission on the Status of Women, on OECD committees, the UN committees, and so on. Ms. O'Neill has a BA in sociology from Carleton University and honorary LLDs from Wilfrid Laurier University. And we have second, Carmen Lorena Ortíz. She's from la Asociación de Investigación y Estudios Social. Did I say that right? ASIES. And in Guatemala. Carmen is a political scientist with 12 years of experience in security issues and alternative dispute resolution method in different spheres, public, academic, national, and international. Currently, she is vice president of the Think Tank Association, ASIES, in Guatemala. And then we have Shekhar Shah from the National Council of Applied Economic Research. Shekhar has been Director General of the National Council of Applied Economics Research in May 2011, since May 2011. NCAER is an independent non-profit institute committed to assisting the government, civil society, and the private sector to make informed policy choices. He is principal author of the 2004 World Development Report on making services work for the poor people. During his distinguished career at the World Bank, because he worked there too, spanning more than 2 decades, Shekhar has served as the bank deputy research administrator, sector manager for governance and public sector for Europe. Dr. Shekhar received a PhD and an MA in economics from Columbia University and his BA. As you will see, you will agree with me that we have a good panel here who will really help us start learning and sharing a fruitful exchange. But before I come back to them for their presentation, we have started making pulling out some more information out of the data we've been collecting with think tanks. And we'll try to show you some of the first results we are getting. If you look at this table, for example, this is a distribution of the TTI grantees per age group and by region. As you will see, just 12 out of the 49 organizations are less than 10 years old. But most of the organizations are above 10 years old. We have, for example, 22 of all, which are between 10 and 20 years. And we have 15 organizations, which are really more than 20 years old. You think that the majority of the think tanks in this program have started getting the best of their board because they have really started some transformation because most of them are more than 10 years old. But is that the case? We'll see, for example, board meeting per year and by region. We try to show you this slide because it's very important to see that there was a change. At least each of the organizations are having one board meeting a year. But what is striking here, in Latin America, sorry for the acronym, we have a maximum of 20 meetings per year. So I said, okay, maybe it's worth it to put this out so that during your discussion, you will try to see what's happening in some of the organizations and try to find what are the good practices. We try to see the key function and responsibilities that the think tank says that the board are playing. And we have pulled out all the information in five key points. Strategic direction, the board is assuring that is making giving strategic direction to the grantees, the think tanks. And two, the board is validating the work plan and accompanying the operation of the institution. Three, the board examines budget and financial issues. Fourth, resource mobilization. And a fifth function, which is appointment of directors and recruitment issues. Like you will see for India, for example, India, the institutions, 67% of the institution cited the strategic direction function of the board, 67%. And the second function they cited was the board was contributing to validate the work plan. 22% of the organization cited it in first position, while 33% cited in second position. But what is striking there, you see in resource mobilization, there is no think tank, for example, has reported that the board is contributing to resource mobilization. And also striking, when you go down, 11% of institutions in India saying that the board participate in appointing the director or participate to recruiting, advising in recruitment issues, while 12%, only 12% have also listed this responsibility of the board. We separated India from South Asia because of the number of organizations in India, but as you will read also, the table reads the same way for all the different regions. So here, by looking at this table, we ask ourselves if really the organizations are taking full advantage of the presence of a board. And that's what we would like to discuss with our panelists today. First, I will introduce Maureen to make her presentation. We'll be sitting because nobody has PowerPoint presentation, so we'll be presenting from the high table here. Thank you.